Dotty and team on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Now, for the first time, Huntingdonshire District Council will be issuing parking fines to drivers parked on yellow lines and in disabled bays. In the past, only police could enforce the parking rules. So this won't change where you can and can't park. It's just who's doing the enforcing which changes. Comes in at the end of the month, and the authority hopes it will improve traffic flow. Liz Owen lives in St Neots. Hi, Liz.
Morning, Dotty.
And you're a blue badge holder, I think. How do you find parking in St Neots?
It's interesting. I think certainly, it's not the best, especially if you're on street parking, which is obviously one of the things that's been the problem, which is why we've been hoping for this on street parking enforcement to come in, which is amazing news. But yeah, usually you do find that I would say more than 50% of the time you get people parking in the blue badge bays that don't have a blue badge, or they'll be parking kind of anywhere they like, kind of, and it's not really very well enforced currently.
Well, the police, with the best will in the world, they're probably not going to be ploughing many resources into enforcing parking rules in Huntingdonshire's town centres. They've sort of got other things to be doing, haven't they?
Yes, absolutely. And I kind of expect them to be doing other things that are way more important. But I think that, it's become quite a talking point in St Neots, especially since they've kind of rejigged the parking and, all the recent developments with things like the Market Square and the development of the High Street as well. So it's, definitely something that people have been waiting years and years for, because it's been talked about for a long time, the on-street parking enforcement.
OK, well, stay on the line if you like, Liz, and have a listen to Julie Kerr, who's the Executive Councillor for Parks and Countryside, Waste and Street Scene on Huntingdonshire District Council. Hi, Julie.
Hello there.
How come the District Council hasn't had these powers?
It was moved over to policing quite a long time ago, and it's a very long and complicated process to move it back to civil parking enforcement. And we've just had an Act of Parliament, and we've been waiting for quite a long time for this Act to come through. It was applied last year, and we're expecting it last year, but with the change of the government, everything got delayed.
Right, but Peterborough City Council definitely has traffic wardens issuing fines. So does Cambridge City Council. Why has Huntingdonshire been lagging behind?
It's literally just been trying to sort everything out. We also had to have all the lineage correct. The police can issue fines just on dangerous areas, whereas if the lines aren't there, the parking wardens cannot issue them, or if they're faint or faded.
Okay.
So all the lineage had to be replaced. Signs have to go up. It's quite a big job to sort everything out, but we've got there now. We've arrived there.
How do you envisage this changing your town centres?
Well, we'll have a lot. I mean, we'll have the difference is we've got 7 full-time members of staff issuing tickets, whereas the police, if we've got major problems, we can get onto them and they'll show up and they'll issue a ticket for half an hour or something like that. And then they've got to go off and do other things. And that's the difference, if you can imagine, the difference between the police showing up as and when they can and 7 full-time wardens working in the district.
So do you anticipate a huge increase in the number of parking tickets being issued?
I would imagine so. Initially, the first month, we're just giving out warnings, so people now understand that they're going to get ticketed if they start carry on parking illegally. Yes. Okay,
so the change in responsibility, or the additional responsibility for the council officers, that comes in on the 28th of July. For how long is that grace period of warnings before you start issuing penalty notices?
A month. We're giving a month's notice.
Okay, so come September, that's when the fines will start.
The fines will start coming in, yes.
And these members of staff, are they new?
We already had some wardens working in the working in the car parks, because obviously you get issued tickets if you park illegally or overstay your time in the car park. But we've employed more, yes.
Okay, so how much is this change costing you?
That one I don't know. We've had to find extra money to because we've had to work it through with Cambridge County Council, and we've had to come up with some agreements because of the lineage and the cost of having to line everywhere, repaint all the yellow lines. I can't tell you off the top of my head how much it costs.
Okay, but sort of tens of thousands of pounds.
Oh goodness, yes.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of pounds?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking a six-figure sum. Why do you think it's worth the money?
Because I live in St Ives, and rather like you're speaking from St Neots, areas of St Ives is actually very, very dangerous. We've got a monument on Broadway, and it's a roundabout, and people park on there. And so when lorries or buses try to get round, they literally cannot get round there because of the illegal parking. It's actually downright dangerous. I mean, we've got it at the back of the town hall where we can't actually access our car park because of the way that people park, and it's an eyesore on Bridge Street because people just leave their car there all day, and it's going to make a massive difference for the high streets.
Okay, Julie, thank you very much for your time. Julie Kerr, the Executive Councillor for Parks, Countryside, Waste and Street Scene on Huntingdonshire District Council. Liz Owen in St Neots still listening along. Thoughts on that, Liz?
Interesting. Particularly, I'd say, because this grace period, I understand people have to be obviously warned, but people in general who are currently not abiding by the rules, let's say, they know they're not. And, even currently in St Neots, obviously people know that the police could at some point come along and give them a ticket. They still park illegally. So I think having a grace period is a bit kind of pointless, really.
Okay.
Just get in there and start ticketing.
Get in there and start ticketing.
Yeah.
You think it's a bit too kind of softly catchy monkey?
Oh, definitely. I mean, yeah, you come to St Neots on any weekend and look at the Market Square or some of the smaller roads around, and people just abandon their cars. They don't really care. And we have so many disabled people upset by that because they don't feel respected, because there's plenty of other non-disabled parking spaces for those people. And yeah, I haven't seen any repainting of lines either, so that's a bit interesting. But obviously it has taken place, and I'm glad they've employed more people too, because obviously it's a huge area to cover, not just St Neots, but you've got Huntingdon, St Ives, and all the smaller villages as well. And you kind of got to stretch people quite a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if they are successful in kind of clamping down on these people that are blocking roads and things like that and taking up spaces.
Yeah, curious to hear how many fines are being handed out, say, between September when they start and the start of the Christmas shopping period. Liz Owen there, who lives in St Neots. What do you make of this? Have you been quite enjoying the rather loosey-goosey approach to parking enforcement, perhaps, on the streets of Huntingdon, St Ives, St Neots? I mean, Ramsey would be covered by this as well. You can always get in touch. It's 08000 85 95 96.